Okay, I'm going to do another Talking Hands video on how to solder headers to PCBs. There are about 100 different ways to do this. This is one technique that I use for boards that it works on because it's, I don't know, works for me. This isn't the only way to do it. Breadboards are a good, easy trick for this if your components will support that. But step one, as always, is clean the tip. So, nice shiny tip. Now what I'm going to be doing is soldering these up through the underside of the board. So, there's always kind of this awkward thing of like, how do you hold them in place? How do you, now you have the iron and then the heat, you run out of hands. Many people will use the helping hands, but there's an easier way in my opinion. So you start with one pad and you fill one pad with solder. Then you line up your pins. And the pin won't go through because I can't see anything. And there's also solder in the way. So at this point, I'm pressing up on the back side of it now. I heat the pad, and the pins magically pop through, which they're not doing, because now I have two of them. Alright, pins just pop through. So all that I was doing was pressing up from the underside very clumsily, so I had to do it through two pads at once. But now, even without these other ones being attached, they are soldered in. They're using the mechanical joint from these on the right-hand side to hold everything in place. So now I can go through and individually solder each of the posts. So I'm going to do the one on the far edge, and then I'm going to, let's see, once we have, so now I have the one on the far edge, and yeah, it stayed flat. Okay. So then I'm just going to go through and touch all of them. Misbehaving. The iron won't take solder. It generally needs to be tinned on the end so it can actually wet the joint. There it goes. So what I was experiencing there as I was trying to heat the joint is there was no wet solder on the end of the iron itself, so there was nothing to really conduct heat into the pins, so the pins wouldn't heat up and the fresh solder wouldn't melt into them. So to fix that, I cleaned the tip in the little brass wool and reapplied solder to it. So here I have now a bridge right here. So I'm going to try just heating it and see what it does. Okay, bridge fixed itself. So I'm going to go through. So that's that.